I'm like beaming with joy. I'm so happy to be here with Jonathan Groff. Just truly one of the most talented people on the planet. No joke. You are in Frozen 2, which is out now.
Yes.
Yay.
Hooray.
Hooray. We have a lot to talk about. You're the reason I've been crying on the subway lately.
You're crying on the subway?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
Also, Little Shop of Horrors, which is so brilliant at the West Side Theater here in New York City. If you are coming to New York and you happen to be able to score a ticket, which good luck, as your former character, the king, might say, then go, because it is a really, I had a smile on my face the entire time. We've talked about Mindhunter, but like, hello.
Thank you for that intro. I'm so happy to see you too.
I love having you here. I have to tell you, I spend my days, I get obsessive about certain songs and soundtracks.
Okay.
And Lost in the Woods on the Frozen 2 soundtrack has become my everything of late.
Oh my God,
and
that's so nice to hear.
I love that song so much.
Good.
Like how?
And this is before you've seen the movie,
no,
right?
I've seen the movie.
Oh, you've seen the movie.
So
okay.
I know it from the movie,
context.
but then the more I listen to it,
yes.
and it just like it moves me.
It is like a throwback 80s slow jam like we haven't heard in a while.
Yes.
It's like Journey meets Chicago meets a little bit of Queen thrown in there, meets like Bryan Adams.
Yes.
Meets like Starship. It's all of those like vibes.
Maybe I'm crying from like pain remembering school dances in the 80s, actually. Now that you're saying that, you're so right. I'm like, will you dance with me? No. Okay.
It really tickles me because I feel like in the context of the movie, when it comes on, the adults find it hilarious because it is an homage to the 80s.
Yes.
And I'm anticipating like 10 years from now when these kids that are growing up watching Frozen 2 hear 80s songs and they think, oh, they must have based this on that song from Frozen 2.
Right. It's
but
all,
actually,
yes. The cycle of life.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
exactly.
God. How did you, I mean, thank God you have a song on the soundtrack. But how did Robert and Michelle kind of tell you that they wrote this song? How did that happen?
So it's Bobby and Kristen Lopez.
Wait, why did I just say Robert and Michelle? I don't even know.
That's okay.
You know why? I was thinking Robert and Michelle King from The Good Wife. I don't know why I did that. Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
No big deal. Bobby and Kristen Lopez, they sent me the song. The unique thing about the Lost in the Woods is because it's like an 80s jam, we do like, I'm actually singing 18 different vocal lines because it's Kristoff harmonizing with himself and then it's the reindeer harmonizing with Kristoff, but it's like multiple reindeer and multiple harmonies.
So it's not just Sven.
Exactly.
I'm like, call him by his name.
Please use his full name.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, thank you. Sven. It's Kristoff and Sven times like, what is it? 9. Not like times 2. It's 9 times 2. And so in the recording studio, it took the entire day because we laid down the main vocal and then it was like doing Lost in the Woods as you hear it more and more, you can start to hear all these background vocals. And so it was such a blast to record in the studio. We had so much fun.
And so when you first got the music or the lyrics or whatever, were they like, okay, this is gonna be a throwback song? And like, what was your feeling about that?
I thought, this is not going to make it into the movie. There is no way that Frozen 2 can take this deep of a left turn into 80s slow jam. I just couldn't imagine that it was real. It just seemed so bizarre and out of left field. And it is, I've seen the movie 3 times now, and every time it gets to it, it's what makes it so brilliant too, by the way, is it's so unexpected. And the way that they animated it with like the homage to music videos, and it's just so brilliantly animated. So yeah, when I first heard it, I was like, this song is beautiful, and I'm certain that it will get cut.
Did you have anything? There were like so many songs written for this movie.
Yes. I had a song previously that had gotten cut that I was like a duet with Kristen Bell.
Oh, yes. She told me. I interviewed her and she was like, oh, I like that song.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting. It's what makes the Frozen movie so good is that the writers and the directors and Bobby and Kristen Lopez ultimately are slaves to the story. And so if something isn't right for the story, even if it's a jam, it will get cut. And it just so happened, though, with this Lost in the Woods, because there's this storyline of Kristoff not being able to express himself. And Bobby and Kristen told me that when they were thinking about writing it, they were like, okay, how do like straight dudes express themselves? And how would they sing? Like, how are you going to get like Christoph, a mountain man, to sing? And they were like, karaoke, Journey. And then that was sort of like the jumping off point for them putting this particular song into the movie.
It's so true. I feel like Christoph is like kind of has his like radio presets to classic rock, maybe. And like 80s
He's
on
exactly
8.
like my brother. Yes. My brother is always doing the like Peloton spin class with the 80s songs. You know what I mean? That's like it's like that dude that really just gets that's what gets them going.
Yeah. It's like
Billy
not a
Joel,
frat boy. It's
soft
just
rock.
yes. Yeah.
Elton John.
Yes.
There's that sect of sensitive
straight.
Yes, sensitive straight that Christoph definitely is.
Oh, I love that story. I think one of the lines that people are really attaching to and being moved by is when he says to Anna, our love is not fragile.
Yes.
And I just got goosebumps when I saw that line. It's so beautiful.
It is. And the way that they wrote that, it's like you said, like a sensitive guy that's also there to support his partner. It's not like some guy that's coming in and it's like Anna goes off on the adventure and he's there to support her, which you don't usually see in like a princess movie.
Right.
Or even like in any movie in general. We're often watching the man go off on an adventure while the girl is left behind to sing the sensitive ballad.
Yes.
And they inverse it in this, as they do a lot in the Frozen movie. They sort of take your expectation and flip it. And the other line that I love that Christoph has is it's sort of in a moment, like an action moment, where Anna's doing this big thing and she almost gets stomped by this giant, and he at the last second scoops her up and gets her, to safety. And the first thing he says is, what do you need? It's not like, I saved you and now, you're welcome. It's like, okay, how can I help you now?
I know.
And that's just such a lovely thing that they've woven into the movie.
I know. And to think about like all like whatever straight boys are growing up seeing this and thinking like, or just boys in general who need to be taught to just be supportive of partners. And like, I love that.
Yes. It's like bringing out the feminist in all of us.
Yes.
What do you need?
Yeah.
Right?
How can I support you?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
It was interesting because I think with Frozen, it was such an important message for girls. I mean, I have 2 daughters. It was so important to me that it was a love story of sisters.
Yeah.
And a love, and it wasn't like this, romance. And I was worried, how were they going to hold on to that for the second movie? Because the sisters have already come together. You can't retell the same story. And it's such a different story.
Right.
And they managed to still have it be this like wonderfully woman positive story.
Yes. And I think too, like in the last 6 years since the first one came out, we're so inundated with like stuffed animals and dolls and dresses and merch, basically. And we think we remember Frozen kind of as the toys now. Yeah. And what I was sort of reminded by when I saw
the 17 Elsa dresses I have in my apartment.
It becomes about those dresses, right?
Really
which is lovely and great. And I was desperate for the Snow White dress when I was growing up.
Sure.
So I totally get it. But when you go back and either watch the first movie or when you see the second movie, you're reminded that these stories actually, like you said, have a lot of depth and are quite profound and quite forward thinking. And they really take it there in the second movie as well. It's very beautiful, it's very heartfelt, and the creators of the movie are real artists. Yes, it is a Disney film, but the reason the first one was so successful is because it was made with like real heart and emotion. And when I saw Jen and Chris win the Oscars, I was like, the good guys won.
Yes.
Because they wrote this, and you can feel it in the movie and you can really feel it in the second movie with all their heart and soul. They really put themselves into it. And that is, I think, just you sort of, when you're lost in the world of merch and dresses, and then it's easy to lose that. It's like a reminder when you see the movie, oh, right, they're actually saying something really big and really deep in the first one and in the second one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. In the second one, it's almost like the story in the second one is so not linear.
Yes.
And they're saying a lot of heavy stuff to the point where it's interesting. I can't wait to talk to all of my parent friends who go with their kids, because I think parents are going to relate to this on a whole other level, and kids are going to relate. It's layered.
It's very layered. It's very complex to the point where, I brought my 2 and 4-year-old niece to the premiere in LA, and I had seen the movie already with my mom at an early screening. And I thought, this is so pleasing to me as a 34-year-old to watch this movie, and I want to watch it again. But how is this going to translate to the 2 and 4-year-old? And then lo and behold, they're sitting there on the edge of their seats, not blinking from start to finish, and hysterically laughing at Olaf and cheering for Elsa and Anna when they do these like giant action sequences. And so somehow like they really crafted the movie so well because it does still keep the 2 and 4-year-olds engaged. I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay, did you have them for the whole night? Let's talk about that. Were you like, I'm taking them, I'm in charge of their candy, I'm in charge of like all of it?
Well, so we were like at Jimmy Kimmel first, and then we went to the red carpet. So my brother and his wife and my mom were like, we'll meet you at the red carpet after you're done with the talk show, because the girls are probably not going to be really into watching a talk show. So then we meet them at the red carpet. I met them at the red carpet, and what was fascinating was I thought the 4-year-old was going to be all about it because she's just very loves people. She's very outgoing, and the 2.5-year-old is 2.5. She's very young. And it was the reverse on the red carpet. The 4.5-year-old has enough intelligence to be a little freaked out. She was like, why are these people? Why are all these people dressed as Elsa and Anna? It's like she was a little scared, and the 2.5-year-old Estelle was like running down the red carpet, high-fiving Elsa's. Just like so into it. They came to the after party. They were out till like 11 p.m. They were pounding like Frozen themed cupcakes. My Avelina, the oldest, kind of got into it in the end and took a picture with this drag queen Elsa at the party. They were really living their best lives.
Oh my God, I love it. So you're like best uncle on the planet award.
They don't really understand that I'm Kristoff or how I'm related to the movie, but I think there's a subconscious understanding that I'm sort of hosting the positive experience. I'm
so
the
you don't
host
have
of
to
the
talk
fun.
to them as Kristoff like every single time you see them. Interesting.
No, they don't quite. I feel like the 4-year-old's about to get it.
Right.
She's about to go there, but no. It's basically they're just like, he's fun. The 4-year-old came to see Little Shop, and she, we were singing like the plant songs and stuff together. So she's sort of starting to like get it, but I think it's more like, oh, it's Jonathan. He's fun. It's like that.
When Frozen came out and it was, everything, and it was like, all of culture stopped and was just all Frozen all the time. Did you think, oh yeah, there'll be a second one at some point? Or were you like, I'm closing the book on this, moving on to other parts?
I would never be like, I'm closing the book,
Oh, no, not like, I'm not going to do this again, but just like, okay.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Yeah. I never in a million years would have imagined there was a second one, even just with the fact that there's never been a successful sequel to a musical in the history of musicals, whether it's stage, movie, animated, anything.
Except Grease 2, I would argue.
I want a cool rider. I want a COOL. I mean, that is a jam.
It is the greatest.
Michelle
Tonight
Pfeiffer.
we bowl.
What's the bowling song? It's like, let's bowl, let's rock and roll. Come on, guys, let's get the show on the road. Yeah, Grease 2 was good. Yeah. I mean, I also like the score of Funny Lady.
Yes.
Which is great.
Yes.
The sequel to Funny Girl. But commercially, I mean, you and I excluded.
Right.
They weren't like artistic feats in the, in the eyes of the world.
Yes.
So I wouldn't have imagined that Frozen 2... Yeah, no one ever thought Frozen 2, ever. And then it made, I think, literally $1 billion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like when people are like, it made $1 billion, it made $1 billion. Yeah.
And so then I think then the conversation began. But to the credit, again, of Jen and Chris, the reason it took 6 years to make is because they cared so much about the first movie. They didn't make the first movie to make a juggernaut. They really didn't. It just happened. And they were very serious about, oh no, we're not coming back to the second movie unless we have a story to tell. And they made a short, and they went to Norway, and they really talked about the story, and they created something with real meaning and depth, because those are the kind of artists that they are. And, you know, all boats rise. You know, everybody rose to the challenge, all the actors and the animators. But it started really with them and with Bobby and Kristen saying, we're not just going to phone this one in.
I'm here with Jonathan Groff, who is in Frozen 2, in theaters everywhere, and also Little Shop of Horrors at the West Side Theater, which is so wonderful. I'm guessing that playing Seymour is like any theater kid's lifelong dream.
Totally. It's such a nerdy theater dream. I used to sing it when I was 11 years old, almost like the age of your daughter, and I would just like sing it and cry and pretend to be Seymour. And now I'm just pretending to be Seymour, but I'm getting paid to do it.
I mean, was this the kind of thing that they were like, did Michael Mayer call and was like, you want to do this? Yes.
Yes. That's literally what happened. It was like it was the fastest yes.
And I love him also. I mean,
yes, we worked together on Spring Awakening. Mm-hmm. We haven't done a play together in 13 years. He said, you know, I want this is going to be off Broadway. Howard Ashman, who's the original director, lyricist, and book writer, did it in 1981 at the Orpheum Theater, and he refused to move the show to Broadway, and it ran there for 5.5 years and was a huge success. And so Michael, when he is putting together this production, told all of us, this is going to be off Broadway. It's never moving to Broadway. I want to do this show for the reason we used to do shows, which was just to have an incredible time. And I love this show, and I want to just celebrate the material and celebrate Howard Ashman, who is a legend, and celebrate his work as a director as well as a writer with Alan Menken, who wrote the score. And that's just what we've been doing. It's just a total joyride in this 270-seat theater. I mean, the roof is like exploding off the theater. It's such a small space. Everyone is so excited to be there, the cast and the audience together. You know, we all just like love the show. So it's just been a total joyride.
That's so interesting that there's no play. I was going to ask you, is this going to move to Broadway? Because when you have like you in this cast and Tammy and Christian, and it's like you have the best of Broadway in this off-Broadway show. I love that it's just a love letter to theater.
It is. That's it. And that's what everyone was saying. That's what Michael said to everyone coming in. Like, don't join this if you're not up for sharing a dressing room with a leaky ceiling with like duct tape on a vent. You know, it's janky back there.
Who do you share? Do you share the dressing room with like you
all
guys?
The boys in one, all the girls in the other. There's a spiral staircase. We go through another backstage to get to our backstage. It is real low rent, and it's why we're all doing it, for the total love and joy of it.
It's the best. I mean, you walk up the stairs as an audience member, and it's like you're in like a high school auditorium cafeteria to buy your wine. But smaller, right? Yeah. Like... and I love it. Yeah. Like it's absolutely wonderful. How do you manage to get through a show without breaking when Christian Borle is in your face?
I just don't.
And he is in your face.
It's part of the great tension that happens between us, is that he tries to make me laugh through the entire show and often succeeds. He's a comic genius. It's like when they were writing the show in 1981, they didn't know they were writing these roles for Christian Borle, because it's like the roles that he was born to play.
And there's 8,000 of them.
And there's 8,000 of them. Yeah. So Steve Martin did the dentist in the movie, and then other people played all the other parts. John Candy is in it. It's like all these other people playing other. But in the play, all those roles are played by one person, and that's Christian Borle. And I think he's one of the greatest comic actors of our generation. And it's hilarious to be with him on stage, and a total honor because he's so brilliant. And same thing with Tammy Blanchard. Like Tammy Blanchard is her voice is ridiculous. She's like all guts and soul and Bayonne, New Jersey, off Broadway. She's bringing it, and I feel actual love in my heart for her she makes me cry every night on stage. We're all doing it for fun, and we're also like doing it with every ounce of soul that we have too. You know, it's like that commitment of wanting to have a great time, but also wanting to pour everything you have into the show, because we all love it so much and care about it so much.
What you feel it in the audience. You feel the people around you are just like, it is such a joyful, wonderful, wonderful production.
I'm so glad you liked it.
Jonathan, I can't let you get out of here without asking you about Mindhunter season 3, which I feel like I just read is now like being put off until David Fincher. Why does he have to be such a good film director?
I know. I hope that the 3rd season happens, but
he wants to do 5, I thought.
I don't know. I don't want to say any. He's like, he's on his own thing. Right. If whenever he calls for anything, I will be there. We all will. I mean, the whole crew would, and cast and writers, everyone would come back in a second because, I mean, he really is the genius of our time, obviously. And we all loved doing the show so much, so we all want to come back for sure. And
I feel like if after the end of season 2, there's so many things up in the air, and like, are the right people? I don't know.
I know. Well, and he like, I mean, when you watch that 2nd season, I remember reading the scripts, really feeling like, again, I mean, not to compare Frozen with Mindhunter, but
please do.
But I'm about to, in that they didn't write that 2nd movie until they knew they had a story to tell. And so I think that David will do a 3rd season when he feels like he has a story to tell, in the way that we took a year and a half off between the 1st and 2nd season because he was waiting until the story was right. And so I trust obviously his impulse implicitly.
Well, it's Mindhunter's amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's streaming on Netflix. Frozen 2 is in theaters now. Little Shop of Horrors at the West Side Theater. Get a ticket. Good luck. Give me a good luck. Good luck.
Good luck. Do I say that as the king?
Yes. Jonathan, do I have to quote you? He goes,
good luck.
President John Adams.
Oh, yes. Good luck. Oh, my gosh. That's right. That was in Act 2 I said that. Now it's all coming back to me.
That's what I say to everyone, where I'm like,
good luck.
Jonathan Groff, you are the greatest. Thank you so much for joining me.